Hi, I'm here with Richard Hope from Hamilton Lane. Richard, great to see you. Perhaps you can start by introducing yourself and your firm.
So Richard Hope, Global Co-Head of Hamilton Lane. Hamilton Lane's an investment manager focused on private markets. Been doing that for 30 plus years. And today we've got about 130 billion of discretionary assets that we invest on clients' behalf. And then in aggregate, 900 billion. So big beast, lots of capital, and very active in private markets and investing on clients' behalf.
Fantastic, thank you. So what are the challenges that private wealth investors see when investing in private markets right now?
Yeah, so the big thing, and I've not heard much of it at this conference, is actually the challenge of education. You know, it's like private wealth investors, they're still learning this asset class. I think the other one is just complexity, you know, and so this industry makes it very hard for investors to invest. It takes a very long time, teams of lawyers, big legal documents, and then you build a portfolio and you wait 10 years to find out the answer. In the private wealth area, it's much more immediate. They want quicker access, they want simpler documents, and they want investments, you know, that are much shorter duration. And so, you know, I think for us as a business, we think, how do we build portfolios? How do we build portfolios that are, suited to a different audience?
Moving on to evergreen funds, do you think they're only applicable for private wealth audience, or when might they fit institutions?
Yeah, so good question. So, you know, on the evergreen side, we truly think it's a disruptor for the industry. Industry's been running this 10-year LP model for a very long time. We have it. It's still our biggest part of our business. But today we've got about $9 billion on the evergreen side, and it's growing really fast. And it's growing really fast because not only private wealth investors are actually investing into it, but institutional investors. So about 20% of our money today is on the institutional side. And that's a surprise for us. It's a surprise for many in the industry. We built an evergreen, but those institutions, they want to move money in and move money out. And the flexibility on the evergreen funds, the so-called semi-liquids, actually give investors a choice. If they've sold a building or a real estate investment, they have money in the bank. Do they want to wait 5 years for that to be called in another fund? Or could they make a choice and put that money into evergreen instead?
So for investors getting into these evergreen funds, I mean, you've touched on the benefits, but could you go a bit more deeper into the benefits of having a fully seeded portfolio?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I think the seeded portfolio just shortens the time horizon. You have a pot of assets already available today. You add to that pot in terms of the capital, and that money's there. Those companies are working for you already within that portfolio. In the closed-end funds, it takes 5 years to build that portfolio. In the evergreen fund, you buy into it. It's like a mutual fund. Your portfolio is there today. It's working on your behalf straight away. And that's very attractive for investors. The private wealth, this is a wealth conference. The private wealth investors, their horizon is much shorter in terms of the time that they want to invest. So having that seeded portfolio there on their behalf is very attractive.
And kind of moving a more general question.
Yep.
What are the most exciting developments in the private wealth space right now?
So in the private wealth space, we had a wealth survey. We shared it yesterday. Yeah. The big one for us is actually wealth advisors looking to include private markets as part of their portfolio. 60% of wealth advisors we surveyed intend to have at least 10% in private markets of their client portfolio. That's a big shift. And of that 60%, half or 30% of those that we surveyed want 20% in private markets. So there's momentum. People want it, which is very good. I think the other thing is the early adopters have played private equity. They played private credit. Again, coming through in that survey, the big thing was infrastructure. People want a lot more infrastructure. I see you smiling. You've obviously had that. You've heard that a few times, but that's certainly for 25, that's a big theme this year is moving, you know, if your initial allocation was in private equity, then growing that into credit and infrastructure.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Richard. It was lovely to meet you and enjoy the rest of IPEM.
Thank you very much.